coming to you live from the Blue Tick Tavern in Maryville and 105.1 FM. Streaming live on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. Bringing you the best in local sports since 1978. Featuring the Greenfield Gunner, Mike Edwards, former Maryville Scot, Donnie Moore, former UT coach, Ray Trail, from the Daily Times, Marcus Fitzsimmons, and Troy Provo Heron.
It's payday.
Hello, everybody, and greetings from the Blue Tick Tavern in downtown Maryville. I'm Mike Edwards, the Greenfield Gunner, along with Donnie Moore and Marcus Fitzsimmons, and this is the Goatee Sports Page. Tennessee heads to the Swamp for a key SEC matchup, and we're going to the whistle blows. And now let's set today's lineup card, sponsored by Blunt Partnership. The University of Tennessee Sports Report, sponsored by the Cherokee Group and the Murphy's Bobcat. SEC Notebook, lead off with Marcus Fitzsimmons and Donnie Moore. Troy Provo Heron will join our crew. Today we'll look back on the Vols' win over Austin Peay and then spring forward to set the stage for today's Florida contest. Donnie Moore will update us on high school scores and news from around the area, and then Mark It Down with Marcus Fitzsimmons, sponsored by Mandy B. Street Realty, features Maryville Christian Soccer. The Anderson Lumber Company Player of the Week segment will be on the agenda, as Greenback football will be in the limelight. Donnie Moore returns to discuss headlines from around the sports world before the Boyd's Sports Spotlight shines on today's Southeastern Conference schedule. And finally, the Bowl Prediction segment closes out today's show. And now it's time for the Cherokee Group UT Sports Report and the Murphy's Bobcat SEC Notebook, featuring veteran sports writer Marcus Fitzsimmons and Goatee's Sports Page veteran Donnie Moore. I'm Mike Edwards, and I would like to welcome everyone back for another week on the broadcast. Troy Provo Heron is back joining the Goatee Sports Page crew, and good morning to you, Troy. It's been a while. You're looking good, buddy. How's the academics?
Grades are going well, and 3 very long weeks of grad school has prevented me from coming here, but I'm glad to be back. I've missed y'all terribly.
Yeah. And Troy will be here periodically during the first half of the year, and then the second half of the year we hope to have him back full time.
Can't
Are
wait.
you getting good NIL money as a grad transfer?
I wish. I mean, technically I don't pay for my grad school, so I guess so.
Yeah. Donnie Moore, let's talk about Let Her Rip. Let Her Rip this morning.
Let's do. In fact, let's just talk about it. Let's just do it.
Yeah,
Let's let her rip.
Got a few things up my crawl, and I'm going to focus on the UT fan this morning.
Oh, boy.
Get everybody's opinion here. The stadium at UT is full of fans thanks to the resurgence of Vol football. The question is, do fans that are in front of you, if you're at the game, do fans in front of you have the right to stand the whole game obstructing your view of the contest? Mm-hmm. Donnie Moore, you paid for your ticket. They paid for theirs. What's your take on that deal?
Well, you know, a wise man once said, your freedom ends where my nose begins. You know, you can swing your arms wildly as much as you want to, but when it hits my nose, that's where your freedom stops.
Yeah.
You know, and that's a pretty good deal.
So are you saying that they should sit down in front of you and just get up when there's something exciting happening, or do you think they have the right to stand up in front of the whole game?
You know, I have a problem with them people standing up all the time.
Yeah. Marcus?
Well, I'll say you have the right to stand up if you bought your seat. As a courtesy, if it's nothing going on but time out on the field, sit down.
That's courtesy.
If the people behind, especially if you're sitting in front of a kid, you know. But at the same time, I've got to respect these people. I mean, we're in that thing where they've told us sitting down is killing us. We're all dying right here on the Goatee Sports Base this morning because we're sitting at work. So we've got stand-up desks, so I can also see their argument that they need to stand and get their workout in.
Yeah, Troy, your take.
I have come on this show and built the reputation of somewhat as a contrarian and yada yada whatnot. But here's the deal: with every passing year, I get a little bit older, and unless you're a student at UT or somebody like that who's up there, those kids, they should have every right to go out there and stand until the next Saturday if they
need
want
to pull those seats out. They don't
right,
need them anyway.
I agree. Let them stand. But
Don't have a
I'm
problem
here
with
to have a public service announcement on people who stand. Rest your feet. My feet are killing me. I walk all day in class, at school. I stand all day for games and practices. Rest your feet. Take
Hear,
a
hear.
seat. It's okay. Like, I get it. It's cool to be excited for 3 hours, but you can be excited sitting down.
Yeah. Well, I went to a Vol baseball game there, playoff game there a couple years ago. Notre Dame was in town. In fact, took the grandkids over there, and my son
how
went.
long did we make
and
it?
I'm telling you, no,
7
wait a minute.
minutes.
This is going to be
7
real
minutes
quick.
We made it without Notre Dame
The
reference.
the people in front of us stood the whole game. You know, my grandkids couldn't even see the game. I mean, we had to put them up on our shoulders
Yeah,
to
why
watch
didn't
the
you, I was
game.
about to say, why don't you put
And
your
they're
grandkid on your
sitting
shoulders?
there. It's a baseball game, Marcus, for crying out loud. It's the most boring sport that's come. I mean, they're sitting there jumping up and down on balls and strikes.
Good.
They're up and down when the other team's up to bat. Sit down. It's a baseball game, for crying out loud, huh?
I take offense to baseball being boring.
Yeah, they are. They are. Wake me up in the 7th inning when they were playing the stretch, take me out to the ball game.
What part of it could be? It'd be interesting to see if we look at the seating in those sections where people are standing the most. But do they have the new good seats that fold down and you know where your seat is? Or are they in those sections still with the metal bleachers that have a number on them, and by the time you get to the second quarter, nobody's sitting over their correct number anyway?
Yeah.
Are they just standing up to avoid fights over you're in my
Hey,
seat?
give them a section. If you want to stand up, you buy this section and these seats. If you want to sit down, you buy these seats over here, and you're allowed to get up when things exciting happen, of course. But if you want to stand up the whole game, sell out the stadium, sell out the ballpark, sell out the arena, and those people that want to stand up the whole game.
Your Memorial Healthy Living standing only section.
Exactly.
With a $10 upcharge per ticket.
Exactly, or maybe more than that. And
Those
pull the seats out. Get the seats out. Sell those to the fans. Sell those seats to the fans. Make a
you
little
go.
extra money, huh? All right.
SRO.
All right.
I think we gave Danny White an idea this morning.
I guess. I think so. It's always good to throw out good stuff. Hey, Donnie, we'll throw out one more. And SEC fans are notorious for this. Should fans leave the stadium early if their team is going to lose? The players are going to stick it out to the end.
They are.
But the fans are going to see you later, man. You know, maybe we'll be back next week if we get over it, you know. What do you think about that?
I have never been one to do that, Mike. I stay because I like watching the football game or whatever kind of game it is. But you know, that's the sign of the times now.
Yeah.
People they get bored and they leave.
Yeah. Marcus?
Well, see, I have a little bit of an issue because when I was at UT, they were good. Well, so we didn't leave early unless it was like homecoming and you were up by 45 on Duke or whatever.
Yeah.
But so when you get to this stretch that UT went through where they were getting hammered, I was working, so I didn't have the option to leave early. We had to stay to the end anyway because we were riding the game. So I don't see the personal experience from it, but I just have a hard time imagining you want to just go ahead and get at. You're not beating traffic. You're just getting in traffic early.
Well, I can say this, Troy, if you're getting beat in the Southeastern Conference, it's really not pleasant leaving those stadiums with the other fans.
No, and that's what
they've got these chants, and they've got this rub-in deal, and they got this.
And they'll jingle their car keys at
It's
you.
a wonder somebody doesn't get killed every
buses
Saturday
chant,
or beat up, you know.
And
Tennessee fans are just as bad as everybody else. They got their chants too. I'm not saying that Tennessee's a Halo type outfit here. I mean it's a conference deal.
And Marcus hit on it. Look, when I was at UT was bad. I stayed most games because I was walking to my apartment anyway. It didn't matter. I wasn't driving anywhere. But most people leave early to quote unquote beat the traffic.
Right.
But if you leave with 70,000 of your closest friends, you're actually getting in the worst part of the traffic. You might as well stay to the end of the game.
Yeah.
And the difference, between now and when we were there, I mean, there's beer sales. You're not dependent on the liquor bottle in your sock.
Yeah, true. There's one. There's
let's stop. I think
Troy
to
will
stop
like
before
this.
the fourth
There's
quarter.
one. There's one university.
But those are big beers. You can buy a beer in the third
I
quarter.
could buy
and
2 beers in the
32
fourth
ounces
quarter, yeah.
later.
There's
you're-
one university in the United States, and Troy will like this, that stays, pretty much for the whole
we go.
game because they get abuse from the start to the end to the next game to whatever,
they have to wear gold helmets?
and they learn how to take it, so they just. They stay.
Do they happen to wear gold
we
helmets?
take it all the time, so we'll just go ahead and stay.
Oh,
Do
we're
they
talking
wear
about
gold
Northwestern?
helmets?
I'll just take it for whatever it's worth.
I think he's talking about
I
Northwestern.
made 2 Notre Dame references in 11 minutes. I don't even miss this.
It's a fact though. You hate them.
I do hate them.
Yes, you have, and if they were sitting right here, their best
But they
fan was sitting right here, they would go, Troy, we understand that, but you're just one of a million,
Listen,
2 million,
can-
3 million,
are
or
you-
maybe
but here's
10
the
million.
thing: are you allowed to leave the stadium early when Jesus is watching you?
Yeah. Well, you got a point there. You got a point there. Hey, let's talk some football. Last Saturday, Tennessee defeated Austin Peay 30-13, and Marcus maybe a little bit closer than people thought. You thought they'd put up 70. I thought they'd be in the 60s, and I think everybody thought there would be some a lot of fireworks there. At least 50, 60 points thrown up there. It didn't happen. It was 13-6, I think, at halftime, and at 23-13 at one time, and then Tennessee scored. So it was a little more close for comfort, but the defense, I think, played well again. They've had 2 pretty good games in a row. The offense kind of kicked the can around a little bit, don't you think?
They did, and I'm still trying to determine. I think today will help me figure some of it out. But because Austin Peay is running such a similar offense, not the same, but a similar type offense, it made me wonder if their defense is much more accustomed than a typical FCS team would be to both the pace and what Tennessee was going to do. And I think they made a very smart decision that stifled Tennessee for a lot of the game. Was they made a commitment to not give up the deep ball. They've said, we'll let you throw underneath. We'll give that up, but we're not letting you go deep. And I think Tennessee got a little frustrated, and you can't afford to be frustrated. You've got in that offense, you've got to take what they give you, and just keep on hitting it.
Yeah.
And I think Tennessee was just getting frustrated, not being able to go deep.
Yeah. Troy, this is the second week in a row, really, that the offense in the first quarter has gotten off to a slow start. I think it was 3-3 after the first quarter. And against Virginia, they had a couple mental mistakes. The kicking game kind of went sour, and they had some drop passes and so forth. They need to get off to a good start today. Yeah. They can't wait till the second quarter. I don't think with an SEC game, you don't want people hanging around. You need to get out of the gate quicker.
Yeah, and I don't want this to sound as a criticism toward Joe Milton, because I honestly think he's going to have a really good year. But I think Josh Heupel has to adjust the way he starts games, because obviously last year you have Hendon Hooker, who the model of efficiency from a quarterback, and you could just trust him to do so many different things and get off to a good start. Joe Milton's not Hendon Hooker, and that's not a slight to Joe Milton. They're just different quarterbacks. I think there are some strengths that Joe Milton has that Hendon Hooker didn't, and vice versa. And so he has to find that balance of, hey, what gets our quarterback into a rhythm early, what gets our offense into a rhythm early. And it's been 2 weeks, and I think they're still maybe trying to figure that out. I think I know there are some people who are really worried about last week. I think last week is a prime example of a team looking ahead to their rival and maybe not focusing on the team that they could probably beat in their sleep, and that's what they did. And we'll see how it goes this week.
Yeah. Well, Donnie Moore, I think that there were some things that stood out. When you talk about Joe Milton III, there were some drop balls.
There were.
Some of them might have been a little high, maybe, but they were catchable balls.
Catch 'em.
They were catchable balls.
Sure.
You got to make the catch. So, some of the heat, if you're talking about Joe Milton, got to go on some receivers too.
I agree.
The other thing I want to talk about with Milton, throw the long ball. Here's a guy that can throw the ball out of the stadium, and I'm waiting there watching the game, and I'm saying, when are you going to throw the long ball? You're throwing the short ball, you're setting them up for runs and so forth. Throw the ball downfield, huh?
Well,
I didn't see it.
I didn't either, but I think that goes back to what Marcus said. I think Austin Peay came well prepared for that, and they weren't going to give us the long ball. And I think Heupel knew that, and so I think they didn't try it.
When you're dropping 6, there's no read on the deep routes.
No.
I mean, your only option are those drags and crosses underneath.
Yeah, but heck, I didn't care whether it was completed or not. I just wanted to see him throw it 100 yards. I mean, just throw it 100 yards and show the people if it's just not there, throw it.
He said in that ESPN article this week that the most he's ever thrown is 97.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Throw it.
97 yards.
Throw it. Yeah.
I mean, isn't that all? That's one goal line to the other, basically.
Yeah, I want to talk about the defense. Aaron Beasley, what a game he had. I think he had 5 sacks in the game. The defense is looking good. There's no doubt about it right now. The defense is ahead of the offense. I think he's willing to say that. And that's a little bit different than what we've been seeing early the last several years. Mm-hmm. So, defense is is going to keep you in the games if your offense is not performing well. Marcus, I want to give some credit to Austin Peay. I mean, they came in here and they'd lost their first game, and by golly, they came in with a pretty good. It looked like they'd taken some plays out of Steve Spurrier's playbook. I mean, they had a center and a couple guards right there, and everybody spread out all over the place. And then they just, run it up the middle for a first down. I saw Spurrier do that several times when he coached down at Florida. But, golly, they came in here. They weren't awed by the situation. The coach was fired up. Looked like they were well prepared. And, heck.
I think Austin Peay did a fantastic job because when you're taking the money and coming into one of these games, so many times you see these teams after a series or two just go to conservative and we're just going to run a base package because we're beat. And we're not going to get anybody hurt. We're just going to do the basic stuff.
Not going to put any of our stuff on film for our games.
Austin Peay let it all hang out. I don't know. I mean,
they went for the win.
I mean, as far as I know, the kitchen sink's still laying on the 30-yard line. I mean, they let it all hang out there, and they were going for the win. They truly believed and played like they were going for the win.
Well, they got more first downs than Tennessee, 19-17, more passing yards, 260 to 228, which that's just that really surprises me because that's where Tennessee's been really strong in the last few years is the quick passing game. Time of possession, 39 minutes, almost 40 minutes to 20 minutes for UT. I mean, those are the things you need to do to win football games if you're playing against an up-tempo team. Third downs, they were 5 for 18. Tennessee was 3 for 12, which was a little bit alarming. Tennessee's got to be better than 3 for 12 on third downs. And then on fourth downs, they were 2 for 5, and Tennessee was, of course, 0 for 1. And a couple of those fourth down tries were in territory where Tennessee could have probably taken the ball the next possession or two and gone ahead and scored. So they realized that they had to keep possession of the ball, and they were willing to do that anywhere on the field if they needed it to go for a first down to keep the possession. So I thought they did a really good job. Hey, let's talk about Florida. Everybody's keyed up, and we've talked about how important this game is because it kind of sets the pace for the rest of the season, so to speak. And a lot of us, including me, I think this is the most important game on Tennessee's schedule because coming out of the Florida game today, then you just pretty much, if you're talking about winning the East and going on, you got to win out in the SEC. You can't lose this football game, and it sort of sets the pace. And it's been a tough go down there. Troy, Tennessee has not won at Florida since 2003, and they've lost 16 out of the last 18. Now, they won last year 38-33, but if you look back, they dominated the whole game, but there was Florida at the end, and they had a chance they threw the ball down into the end zone right there, trailing. They complete that, and they come back and win the football game. So it went right down to the wire, and so this is a big one. This is a big game.
It's a huge one, and today will be an opportunity for Tennessee to kind of exercise some of those demons in the swamp. I've had the unfortunate circumstance of having to go down there twice and Tennessee lose on just absolute heartbreakers with, Felipe Franks' Hail Mary, Antonio Callaway's 68-yard touchdown where he caught it between 4 Tennessee defenders and none of them touched him. And so, they've had these opportunities to win in the swamp over the years, and they haven't executed late to make that happen. Last year they executed late to win one in Neyland, and that's big. But when you go on the road in a place like the Swamp, you're right, Mike, you have to do a lot more than give the team a chance. And let's be perfectly clear. This Florida team is nowhere near as dynamic as Florida was last year. They don't have a guy who can create with his legs like Anthony Richardson.
Yeah.
They're going with a quarterback in Graham Mertz who he's a game manager. And so if Tennessee's defense continues to play the way it's played, you feel pretty decent about it. But, again, Tennessee in the swamp has not been very kind.
And, Marcus, I'm concerned about, as they are, Florida fans, about their offense. But their defense, pretty good.
It's good.
Pretty good defensive team, pretty good secondary, and they played a really good Utah team that's 2-0, and they played them out there. They didn't look real good, but they didn't get beat badly, and their defense didn't play bad, but their offense just didn't show up, for the game. So, but they have been tested. They've had that one tough game, and now Tennessee goes down to the swamp. I'm going to ask you this: is this a bigger game for Florida? Or is it a bigger game for Tennessee? Because Florida's got a coach down there that's feeling a little bit of heat, and he hasn't been there very long, and he needs a big win.
Well, I won't know. It'd be hard to say because neither team can afford to lose this
it's
game.
massively huge for both teams.
And the implications are bigger for Tennessee if they were to lose. But who does a win help more? I mean, it's pretty equal.
Yeah.
They both need to get off to that good start in SEC play because their schedule gets murderous. But I would say I feel good about this one, and just for this reason. This feels like, for the first time in a very, very long time, maybe a few exceptions along the way, that Tennessee is in the position to out-coach Florida.
Yep.
I like what Hype can do. I like what he does. Last year, I think, was an example of the defense letting down, which we saw several times. But if that's not a concern, and you can do what you want with the offense, and like Troy said, manage that offense maybe a little bit better,
Yep.
I think Heupel's a better coach than what Florida can put up.
Yeah.
And I think they can outmanage and outplay Florida.
Donnie, I was feeling a lot better about this game maybe 3 weeks ago or 4 weeks ago.
Yeah.
I'm getting a little bit more nervous about this game. I think the line started at 8 on this game this week. It's down to 5.5 this morning. But listen, Tennessee has gone to Florida in this same situation with better football teams. There's no doubt they've gone down there. We've all seen it with better football teams, expecting to win, but they don't get the job done. So tell our listeners today and tell me what makes this team so special that they can get it done. He's mentioned the coaching. Is there anything else?
I'm kind of like you. I'm not sold that Tennessee's going to go down there and win this football game. They're going to have to prove it to me that they can go to the swamp and win this game. It's been 20 years.
You know what
20
I think?
years. It's like you're due, man. It's like you're due for a hit. You're due.
Yeah. You know what I think, Mike? I think there is a difference, and I think you're right. In the past years, Tennessee has walked into the swamp with. There have been some occasions where you say, on paper, Tennessee's the better team. But I think that in those,
you don't play this game on paper.
But I think in those instances, there was also that thing in the back of your mind that said, "But we just can't beat Florida." And I think winning last year, whether it be in Neyland, whether it be in the swamp, there just feels to be this different sense of belief.
It helps.
There definitely feels
it helped that
there's
we won
just
that game
some
last year.
there's just some different type of feeling
But
going
you
into
know,
this year.
last year when they played, if you'll remember the game, Tennessee was whipping them bad.
Yeah, it was bad.
I mean, it looked like, man, we're going to, and the fans were all in a frenzy, and next thing you know, here comes Florida.
Yeah.
Here comes Florida, and they almost pull it out again. The
Yeah.
fans are sitting there going, oh, my gosh, how could this be happening? But I honestly believe, Marcus, that Tennessee players and that program down there, I don't care where they're playing, they feel like they own Tennessee. Psychologically, however you want to put it.
This is what I was going to. Florida probably feels that way, and they have a right to. Because let's be honest, they've proven it on the field time and time again. But one of the things that I think may be an unexpected positive from the transition from our last coach and the exodus that went on is there was a break. There was so much loss of personnel that went on. some of these things that might be in players' heads that might get there after a season or two, there wasn't that opportunity. So the whole Florida owns us thing in the back of people's minds didn't necessarily translate through that process.
They don't know that.
I think the way you've seen Florida and Tennessee play under Heupel has not been the same as what you saw. You saw Florida doing and pulling off some things, but you didn't see Tennessee caving and collapsing like you've seen them do for 20
Yeah, there
years.
seems to be more of a level head under this program and a more focus, so to speak, and we know it's a big game and we're going to go in there and we're going to prepare for it. We know what we've got to do. Troy, Florida's given up 3.2 yards per carry, and now we got a solid backfield with Jalen Wright back there, Jabari Small, and there's a couple other guys you can throw in there. But this is something to watch today. Can we run the football? If you go back and look at the series, few teams have won this series without dominating the rushing game.
Yeah, and Tennessee has looked really good running the football to this point in the year, and so and really, I mean, they were one of the best teams in terms of yards per carry last year. So, I think they do some things that spread defenses out, and hopefully that allows you to kind of go in there and run the ball a little bit better than some teams have against Florida to this point. But it is important. But I honestly just believe that I think today Tennessee wins because of its defense. I don't see a world in which, like last year, they got ahead, it felt like they were going to run away with it, and it just ultimately came down, and this is part of the reason why he went number 4 in the NFL draft this year, Anthony Richardson doing some absolutely wild things at quarterback last year that kind of brought them back.
And it was
Graham
Richardson.
Mertz.
But that's what I mean.
And Mertz doesn't have that. Like, if Tennessee were to go up 14-0, 20-0
came
today.
from Wisconsin.
And so he knows nothing about any type of high-powered offense.
Program up at Wisconsin.
What have they done in the last 10 years? That's what I'm saying, though. So what I'm saying is if Tennessee were to go out and go up 14-0, go up 20-0 today, does Mertz have the ability to bring them back like Anthony Richardson did last year? The answer to that is no.
I don't think
He's
so.
never shown that in his career. Wisconsin, because he comes from a team at Wisconsin. You're right that sets the tone early and hopes that they can just outlast you.
They bully you the ball. It's Big Ten football. Run the football right at you.
So if Tennessee's offense can just do enough to pad enough of a lead and their defense can kind of play back and say, okay, go beat us, Mertz, I don't think he can do that.
Well,
I could be wrong.
I don't think Florida can come from behind like they did last year with Mertz.
I agree.
And if you jump on them early, I don't think they can.
Florida's
they
not
got
built
the power.
that way this
No.
year. Florida's built as a running team this year.
Yeah.
I mean, they're
Wisconsin South.
Their strength is 2 running backs. It's not throwing the ball all over the field.
Donnie, we can talk about the running, we can talk about the defense, but I'm going to tell you what people are going to be focusing on, and the media is going to be focusing on, and the limelight's they're going to be focusing on Joe Milton and what kind of game he has today. Yep. I'm telling you, this could be, you talk about how big a game it is, this may be
the biggest game of Joe
biggest game Joe Milton plays,
yep.
In his career here, because it's going to kind of set the tone if he goes out and he doesn't play well, and
in kind of his hometown,
he gets in that Michigan groove where he just, he's just not getting it done like he needs to be getting it done. Then it raises questions going on into the rest of the SEC.
Yep. His homecoming too. Like there's a
if
lot
you look,
into this for
if
him.
you look around the SEC, and you got to look at Joe Milton as he's been around, but he's a new quarterback. He's basically, and you look at the SEC this year, the teams that's got these quarterback changes. Alabama, and you got some other schools there. There's several of them. They're struggling.
Yep.
With these quarterbacks, and the ones that have had the quarterbacks, they're they're going.
But before I know Donnie wants us to break, but before we do, I want to take that peek ahead because I think it's all over television this morning because it was fantastic when I saw it last night, and that's UTSA's game against Army. Alcoa alum is front and center this morning for his touchdown catch last night, Tykeogo Kellogg. Fantastic catch in double coverage last night. UTSA still lost that game to Army, but that was a fantastic play, and I think it's something they've been waiting. This is year 6 for him.
Yep.
They've been waiting to see that kind of play for him for that long, but he's made it.
And they're 1-2. They're 1-2 now, coming in here next week, and they had high hopes. And we're going to talk more about them next week to preview that game. But they're off to kind of a disappointing start based on winning 11 games last year, winning a bowl game. They really felt like, with everybody back and their quarterback back, that this was going to be their year. And,
it hasn't happened yet. But I want to toss it out there because
Yeah, that's good.
It's good to see an
Yeah.
Alcoa kid doing
Absolutely.
well on the college level, and especially,
Absolutely.
I think he was number 1 on the top 10 this morning on Sports
Absolutely. Hey, we'll take a timeout here, and when we return, Donnie Moore will provide high school scores and news from around the area, and veteran sports writer Marcus Fitzsimmons joins us with his feature Mark It Down. You're listening to the GOTee Sports Page, Blount County Sports Voice, and now stay tuned for the best in local sports.
It's payday, and on payday, you want to have access to your money right away. When you enroll for direct deposit at Knoxville TVA Employees Credit Union, your money comes to you with no waiting. It's the fastest and most secure way to get paid. Getting set up is easy. All you need is your account number and our routing number. Find out more at tvacreditunion.com.
Join us now.
Federally insured by NCUA. Some restrictions apply. Ask for details.
Since 1925, Anderson Lumber in Alcoa has proudly served and supported our local communities. But did you know Anderson Lumber is so much more than a lumber store? You can stop in anytime and see our incredible kitchen showroom. From floors to cabinets and everything in between, Anderson Lumber's experts can help you design your dream kitchen. And then our install team will make it a reality. For anything home, we welcome you to visit Anderson Lumber in Alcoa or shop over 67,000 items online at AndersonLumberCompany.com. Anderson Lumber, since 1925.
Aubrey's is known for real comfort, real food, real good. But remember, Aubrey's is also really into Blount County. Aubrey's Maryville has been a strong supporter of local schools and sports programs for more than 15 years. From baseball to football, dance teams, and marching bands, Aubrey's has helped schools and youth programs generate thousands of dollars. It's easy for us to do because it's the right thing to do. So the next time you're looking to choose a place to eat, we hope you'll choose Aubrey's. Real comfort, real food, real good. See what's on the menu at aubreysrestaurants.com.
Merlin's Music World in Maryville is owned and operated by Dylan Davis and has been a fixture in Maryville since 1987. Guitars, amplifiers, lessons, sound system, and video system installations are products available at Merlin's. Merlin's also offers a 24-track digital recording studio featuring audio engineer Rusty Chambers. Visit Merlin's at 1920 East Lamar Alexander Parkway or call 977-0093.
We all want our loved ones to be safe. Denso in Maryville is at the forefront of creating technology for safer vehicles. Join the automotive industry with Denso in a fast, challenging, clean, and safe environment. They offer great benefits and competitive pay, as well as a convenient on-site healthcare facility, cafes, fitness center, and more. Start your future now. Entry-level production positions start at $16 an hour for second or third shift. Visit densocareers.com/Maryville to learn more and apply. The Blue Tick Tavern is home to the tastiest pizza in Blount.
Welcome back to the GOTee Sports Page, and it's time to bring in Donnie Moore and talk a little bit about the high school sports here in the area, and especially high school football last night. And Donnie, it was a full slate. There wasn't very many local teams at home. You know, I think Maryville was about it, wasn't it? I think everybody else was on the road, and I guess the big story was William Blount. Trying to go 5-0 for what, the first time in 55 years?
First time in history. William Blount could have made history last night, but fell just a bit short.
Yeah, and I know you're going to talk about it, but it looked like that was going to happen. It looked like they were going to make it, and then they had a pass interception right there, I think, before the half, and turned the tide.
Yeah.
Turned the tide. If they could have gone down and scored then, I think they got the ball at the start of the second half, and I just a turnover. I had a turnover right there, and they had some drop balls and some mental mistakes and some penalties that it just hurt them. But
they didn't play badly, but Westridge is a strong team.
Yeah.
It's
they put up 38 points. You'd think
did.
that'd be enough to win the game, but it wasn't last night. No.
Westridge is a combination of Sullivan North and South and Central.
Yeah.
3 schools.
Yeah.
They have 1,700 students, but. Like I said, we'll talk about that one just a little bit more.
It's all yours, Guy.
Thank you, sir. This is the Mandy B. Street Realty local scoreboard, and we are just past the halfway point in high school football now. High school athletics.
Don't get me started on that. Don't get me started on that.
Can you believe it?
I
Halfway-
can't because this
that's
should
the
this should be
regular
what
season.
this should be week 2 or 3. I still believe we should be starting at Labor Day.
Yeah, I know, but we're halfway through the regular season. Alcoa traveled to Austin East last night for their a region game. Didn't have a whole lot of trouble with the Roadrunners. Alcoa started a little bit slowly last night. I don't know whether it was the jet lag of traveling over to Knoxville or not.
It might have had something to do with that accident on Alcoa Highway that backed
Oh,
up traffic
goodness.
all the way into downtown Maryville.
Yeah, Marty and Heath didn't get there till almost the end of the first quarter to start their broadcast. But they recovered quite nicely, as did Marty and Heath, and as did the Tornadoes. Ended up winning the game 42-0, shutting out the offense of the Roadrunners with the vaunted Tornado defense. And here again, 42-0. Next week, the Tornadoes travel to Union County for another region matchup. Union County lost to South Green last night, 47-0.
Yeah.
It's not a good Union County team, and
No,
this
it's not.
Alcoa is going to be heavily favored.
They are. It's
So-
not.
Well,
it's
they're going
not
to
a
be
great
heavily
region.
favored in every game in that region.
They are.
Every region game, they
and
will
it's
be.
not a region that's got a lot of teams in it.
Not anymore.
No.
No.
Not anymore.
Yeah, 4
4 teams.
to be exact.
Does that mean all 4 of them get in the playoffs then, right?
Yep.
Well,
They do. Eagleton traveled to Happy Valley last night, and Happy Valley was pretty happy at the end of this game. They won that and over Eagleton 38-12.
And that I made that trip last night. And I do
Your
not,
thoughts?
I don't know what Happy Valley team that was last night, and I'm probably expound on this in the paper tomorrow's edition. But they weren't running They were not running the offensive plays that are on huddle. They were not. Personnel were not in the same locations. They totally revamped. They look like Oneida, to be honest. They looked
Really?
like Oneida last night. They
Yeah.
did not look like the Happy Valley team that got shut out a week ago. So they've either made some dramatic changes or they schemed a whole lot for Eagleton.
Must
I don't
have.
know which it was, but Eagleton got
Eagleton got surprised.
got smacked it right at the front, right at the
Yeah.
first. They had interception, and then they had a 4th down try that didn't make it, and it was 24-0 in the first quarter, and Eagleton had only run like 6 plays.
Oh, goodness. Well, next week, Eagleton is at Wartburg Central, who lost to Bledsoe County 42-20 last night. So we'll see how that goes.
It's an opportunity. It's a Region 2 team for 2A, so I mean, it's potential somebody you'd see in the playoffs, so it's a good one to go ahead and play that one.
Good. Moving on to Greenback, who hosted Oakdale last night. Greenback picked up a victory last night, 40-20.
2 in a row.
Nice round victory. Nice round numbers on the scoreboard.
And we got some
Yeah,
Cherokees coming in the next hour.
We do. Good. We'll talk to them about that. Greenback goes to Oneida next week, who had a victory last night over Polk County, 21-17. Close victory over Polk County.
Greenback's going to have a tough game next week, but we'll talk to them about it and see what they think.
We'll see what they think. That's right. Heritage went to Carnes last night and took care of the Beavers, broke through their dam, 56-21. So, Coach
their offense
Coach O,
put some points up.
they did.
You know that.
Mountaineers burned Buc-ee's to the ground.
That's right. That's it. You got it. 56-21. Congratulations to the Mountaineers on a nice win last night. They host Knox West next week, so that's going to be a tough game for the Mountaineers. Knox West beat Central last night, 53-0.
Hey, West may have the best football team in this area.
Best 5A team for sure.
Yeah, for
I
sure,
think
no doubt about it. And
Knowing Coach O, I think he will call this an opportunity for Heritage.
Yeah.
So we'll see. I mean,
No doubt.
Heritage just showed they can put up 56 points, so we'll see.
We'll see how it goes. Maryville hosted Science Hill last night, and Science Hill put up a valiant effort against the Rebels, but Maryville took care of business and beat the Hilltoppers 37-18. Next week, Maryville goes to Hardin Valley Academy in the Hawks Nest. Hardin Valley lost to Bearden last night. Bearden, we know what kind of team Bearden's got.
And Hardin Valley's not bad.
Hardin Valley's not bad, but Hardin Valley lost to Bearden last night 41-9.
Ooh.
So we took one on the chin last night.
Yeah. And Science Hill, I think they go to William Blount next week.
They do.
Yeah. Well, they should just stay down here.
Yeah.
They stay down here the whole week instead of
stayed,
driving back up there. That's a long drive. Just
it is.
Get a
long
motel
drive.
room out here and
no kidding.
take them up to the mountains.
Yeah.
All week.
Seymour went to Anderson County and kind of wished they hadn't last night. Anderson County's tough. Anderson County beat the Eagles 51-7 last night. Seymour's having a tough year.
Seymour's having a tough year, and Anderson County's having a good year.
Anderson County's on top of the world.
Do
right
they
now.
have trouble with Sevier County as far as players? I know they're pretty close together and so forth.
Unlike this one, this will shock some people who are used to Blount County schools, where you are zoned to where you go. Sevier County is open zone.
I see.
So you can live in Gatlinburg and go to Seymour, or you can live in Seymour and go to Pigeon Forge.
I see.
Yeah.
I see.
There is no. You can go where you want.
I see.
To high school. So
well, they may be fighting that a little bit.
They might. Seymour hosts Cherokee next week, who lost to Northview 44-20 last night.
Northview's looking really good.
They
If
are.
you want to talk about what's hurting Seymour, that's where you have a battle between players because they are on the same stretch at Boyd's Creek.
They sure are. Well, let's move on to the Kings Academy. They traveled to Chattanooga Grace last night, and Grace beat them by a touchdown, 28-21. Next week, Kings Academy plays Providence Christian, who last night beat Grundy County 20-14. So close game there. Providence Christian, are they a Middle Tennessee team?
I don't
think
recall if that. Yeah,
Johnson
Johnson
said
City.
the Upper East Tennessee. Okay.
They're one of the newer members.
All right. So we'll see how TKA performs next week against Providence Christian. And the game we already talked about, William Blount went to West Ridge last night up in Blountville to play the Wolves and put up 38 points on them and lost by 11.
Yeah. And I think that was the biggest margin of the game was 11 points.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah.
And take on Science Hill at home next week, who lost to Maryville 37-18.
And to get into the playoffs, they really need this game. I mean, they need another game, don't they? I mean, to make that fourth spot.
They need at least one regional win. They prefer two.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, that's true.
And I mean, they've got the opportunities. They got Science Hill coming up. Dobbins Bennett's not looking as strong as they have in past years.
They've got other opportunities.
But Jefferson County is looking very, very
Jefferson
strong.
County
so
will be a tough win for them.
William Blount's got some chances, and they're 4-1.
Right, sure.
That's a lot better.
Absolutely.
Than 0-5, which is what we were talking about this point last year.
You got to believe it. Well, that's it for the Mandy B Street Realty Local Scoreboard. You're listening to WKCE 105.1 FM and 1180 on your AM dial, Mid-Century Radio. Now we're going to kick it to our friend and veteran sports writer, Marcus Fitzsimmons, for his feature, Mark It Down.
Donnie, that transition just gets better every week. I'll tell you what,
get more practice on it.
We got special guests this morning. I wish we had a show on Tuesday so we could have had them on right after it happened, but we had to wait till today. If you saw the score on Monday, Maryville Christian School girls soccer took a 1-0 win over William Blount. So
it's a big win for them.
Small private school, the big public school just a couple miles away, and they get the win. And we've got some of the players joining us this morning. We've got Anna Stewart, and then Anna and Rachel. I'm going to ask you. I didn't ask you. How do you say your last name? Mullison.
Yes.
Okay. So we've got three players from Maryville Christian joining us this morning. and talk a little bit about that win. And I'm actually going to I'm going to pick on the Anna on the left. And if you're watching this online, and please do if you can watch it online, I'm going to call it Purple Anna because she's got the pure purple versus Anna who's got the white jersey on. But a shutout against William Blount. You're in the goal.
I am.
That's an impressive effort. What exactly what were you doing directing that defense, and what were you doing to stop William Blount?
Yes. So this is that. At that time, it was my third time ever playing goalkeeper. I had no experience before, but I knew as a defender player for previous 12 years earlier, I had known defense has to be strong. Defense has to get it out of there. So as a goalkeeper, I wanted to direct my attention to getting the ball out of that goal, that area, and so I just commanded my defense players, especially at the last 5 minutes of the game when there was just so many corner kicks that were being taken. And I just really focused on these are my teammate players. Just they've got to get that ball out of there. And so just making sure one purple was on one white every single time, and just repeating that. And I, as an Eagle, I have to scream sometimes, and so it was good. I was trying to be positive about it, but that's where I was focused, getting that ball out of there.
When you're holding a 1-0 lead and it starts getting late and the other team starts applying all the pressure they can, how does it affect you now that you're in the goal? Do the nerves ratchet up a little bit more than they did before?
I would say so. Yeah, because there were several powerful kicks. That was, praise God, I was able to stop. I had to really focus and just remain calm because there are a lot of nerves. But again, I'm thankful I'm not running around. I'm able to focus. I'm able to be a little goofy. There was another girl, number 22, on the William Blount team. She came right up next to me, was trying to shove me over. I was like, "Hey, girl, what's going on?" Getting a little personal here. Oh, hey, we're gonna be best friends. That had never happened to me before, but I was just remaining really positive about the whole experience and trying to, apply a lot of great effort and a lot of positivity to, the environment because it was pretty intense. So, yeah.
Well, we'll go to the other Anna, who, if you didn't read the Daily Times article, got the game winner.
Yes, girl.
Talk a little bit about that goal.
So I play a winger, so I'm out wide, and one of our center mids, Katie, she took a shot, and it bounced off the keeper, and I was just right place, right time, in running in to kick the ball into the goal. So it was kind of just a rebound off of her goal. And
was it just a complete reaction?
Yeah, this was just my immediate reaction, kick it towards the goal, and pray it gets in.
Yeah.
But that's a little bit of training, too, and a little bit of how you all play to it on the attack, to be in that position that if the keeper doesn't actually cover it up and it comes out, that there's somebody there to try to finish it off.
Yes.
So is that something you all have worked on as far as we always want to be being in those positions?
I would say so. I don't know. I was out for about half the season because I had an injury, so I didn't make it to most of practice, but my dad's a soccer coach, and I played soccer since I was very little, and so I've just been raised to crash the goal after anyone takes a shot.
Mm-hmm. So I guess it opens up that other door. How does it feel to be back now?
I'm very excited. Anna and I were both out for a very long time. She got out. She was back one game, and the next game I was back, and so we were both just very excited to be back.
Yeah.
So the Lady Eagles were -2 Annas.
Yes, I know. I had been injured for about half the season earlier. I was trying to get a sports physical signed off, but I had to get an MRI to prove that, so there was so much delay, and then I'm finally able to get in the goal. I'm just standing here, guys. Do I really need to get signed off for that? But yeah.
Well, we'll pick on Rachel because she's been quiet this whole time. I think she's been doing the "don't pick on me" thing.
Yeah.
You're defensive mid, right?
Yes, sir. Yeah.
So does that mean the person over there on your side gets to boss you around a little bit?
Well, it was kind of a new experience because I had never really played that much with her in the goal before, and So she was just bossing me around sometimes, and other times I would get like pretty mad at her because I was like, I'm trying to get the ball out of there. That's what we're trying to do. But it was definitely a good reminder because it was a good reminder where she was like, oh, watch 15 on your back. Oh, number 2 is open, cover her. And so it was good because she could see the whole field and I couldn't. And so she definitely helped the team a lot by just directing people where to go. And so, yeah, that definitely helped win the game.
So what was it like when the horn finally went off and you all had beaten William Blount? What was the team's reaction?
It was like just a sigh of relief, I think. A lot of people were like, wait a minute, how small is your school? Like, how many things have we overcome as a team? Like, praise God that he has healed our bodies enough to persevere and push through, like, all of our hardships that we were able to conquer. But, yeah, it's glory to God because, you know.
So really, even though we're talking maybe 2 weeks left in the season at this point, you're just really getting to the point that this team is actually playing the way it was looking like you were going to be playing back in the beginning of the season when we're looking at it in preseason. You're just really getting to that shape?
I would think so. I think since we have faced so much diversity, I feel like our team has struggled with having to match that intensity or an intensity, you know, like, and so we have to work on our consistency with our plays and our passing. A lot of our players are new and unexperienced. And so as a team, we've really had to rely on each other and trust each other. But I think we've come a long way.
You know, and I was talking with Troy before y'all got here because I had really thought, looking at your schedule, that you all had made the transition to TSSAA school at this point, and I was like, no, they haven't. Okay. But outside of the Ambassadors, every school you play is TSSAA this year on your schedule. How, when you're going into those situations, especially when you're playing a 6A school, I mean, how does it feel when you go into some of those into some of those environments on those road games? When you all are little Maryville Christian from right down the road, is it intimidating at all?
Yeah, I would say so. Yeah.
It definitely is.
Now, do you all play on? Do you have overlaps? Because a lot of time when we talk with soccer, you're playing on the club level with some of the players you're playing against on the high school level. Does that happen any with your team here?
I think it's an interesting experience because there are some girls who are, you know, planning on being pro, and so they're training that way, they're practicing that way, they're playing that way, and we have kind of like a rookie team with some 7th graders. We have some injured players, and so we have to really just remain focused and, you know, play and not let them get in our heads, and just remain positive and say, even if we lose, hey, it's all God's time and it's all God's plan, and you know, we're still gonna conquer, and we're still gonna do a great job.
We're gonna try our best.
Yeah, for sure.
So I was taking the peek ahead of what y'all got coming up. Just one game next week with Rockwood, but then the end of season, it looks like you've got Sequoia, Loudon, and Fulton within a 4-day span to close out the season. That I'm glad you get some chance to rest next week because the week after is going to be pretty busy.
Yep.
What happens with you all? Do you have a postseason at this point, or will you all have at the end of the regular season is when you play Fulton, it's over?
I think that's the end. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you pretty much have to make the most of the last 2 weeks, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, just 4 more games left, so we really got to try hard and put our effort into each game.
So are you looking forward to what you can do now that you're all finally back together?
I think so. I think it's a lot of practice that we need to put in, a lot of time we got to put in, effort, and you know, and just enjoy our team together and enjoy our last moments together. But for sure, just strengthening each other, and something that I think is so valuable in our team is we first pray before every game, before every practice, at the end of every practice, and with that, it's setting our hearts and our minds to focus on what really matters, and you know, from there, we get fired up and we, you know, remain strong throughout the entire game, throughout the entire season. So, yeah.
Well, let me give you a chance here we got about a minute left, but
Right.
give you a chance to do some shout outs. Who
Yes.
and this is where you can say thanks, Mom, for taking me to practice all these years, or whoever's helping take care of the field. So if you got to give a shout out, who can you give a shout out to?
I would say Coach Bailey, Coach Morris, coaches for sure. Just our families as well, and just the teachers at our school. So super supportive, super understanding.
Rachel, what about you?
I'd probably say the same with the coaches. Maybe to Mom and Dad for like soccer practice and so many different runs that we did. But yeah.
And for Anna in the white jersey?
Yes, Anna.
Am I allowed to shout out like a certain player?
Yeah, you can.
Okay, well then I'm gonna shout out one of our very good strikers, number
Yeah.
2, Lily.
Yeah.
She wasn't supposed to go to our school actually this year. She was supposed to. She actually doesn't go to our school. I'm also homeschooled, so she was supposed to go to, I think it was Concord this year, but she wanted to stay and play with us and make sure we had a team, and so she stayed with us, and I'm just really thankful for her staying with us because she
Yeah,
adds a
that's
lot
true.
to our team.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you what, we appreciate y'all coming in, especially all decked out in the jerseys. I always appreciate people come in colorful.
Yes, sir.
And congratulations on the win over William Blunt. We wish y'all the best for the last 2 weeks of the season, all the
Thank you.
success you can find.
Thank you.
And Mike, I guess we'll go ahead and turn the page.
Thanks, Marcus. Donnie, I know we're pressed for time, but I got to plug Greenfield, Indiana, again before we get out of here, my hometown. Greenfield Central beat Shelbyville last night 47-0. They're 5-0 for the first time since 1971. So their
a long time.
season was kind of paralleling William Blunt. And the other big news is Braylon Mullins, the fine basketball player that I mentioned last week. Indiana offered him a full ride yesterday. So he's a junior going into his junior year. So this is outstanding news up there for Greenfield and their athletic programs up there. So, yeah. Hey, it's time to turn the page and announce the Anderson Lumber Company Player of the Week. You're listening to the Goatee Sports page, and now stay tuned for the best in local sports.
The Blue Tick Tavern is home to the tastiest pizza in Blount County. Try our signature Broadway barbecue pizza, grilled chicken and red onions covered in mounds of mozzarella. Or sink your teeth into our one-of-a-kind chicken and bacon pizza, made with an olive oil base, grilled chicken, bacon, red onions, and covered in Brussels petals. The Blue Tick Tavern also has salads, sandwiches, and the area's largest beer selection. Regularly recognized as the best pizza in Blount County, it's the Blue Tick Tavern, located at 128 West Broadway in downtown Maryville. The Roger L. Newman Company began in 1984 with a vision of providing Blount County with excellent heating and cooling service. Mr. Newman also wanted a real business. No gimmicks and no high-pressure sales. They just fix it or replace it. They want to stay within your budget and make you comfortable. Their motto still stands true today. Call us first, we'll be there. Call Roger L. Newman Company at 982-5446 or visit online at rogerlnewman.com. Cooler temperatures are approaching. Upgrade your furnace now for as little as $50 a month. Your newspaper? That's right. The Daily Times is your newspaper, tailored to where you live, emphasizing the things that affect you and keeping track of the people and players in our community. The award-winning Daily Times can be delivered each morning right to your door or inbox with the latest in local news and sports. For a 30-day free trial offer, call 981-1100 and begin enjoying your life, your times, every day with the Daily Times. For over 50 years and 3 generations, the people of Blount County have trusted Stevenson Tire with their vehicles and their families. Our mission has always been simple: to provide quality products at reasonable prices with exceptional customer service. Featuring tire products from Michelin, BF Goodrich, Uniroyal, Bridgestone, Firestone, and Yokohama, Stevenson Tire also offers alignment and brake services at affordable prices. Stevenson Tire Company, 2411 East Broadway Avenue in Maryville. Call 983-1621 or online at stevensontire.net. Waters Equipment is your East Tennessee New Holland agriculture and construction dealer. Waters Equipment has been serving Blount County for 48 years and has 2 locations in Maryville for sales and service for New Holland equipment. Offering shop and field service for trucks and equipment of all brands,
Waters offers equipment rentals for New Holland skid steer, Mini X, and tractors. Call 238-9000 for your rental needs. That's 238-9000. Waters Equipment New Holland. Excellence in service.
Welcome back to the Blue Tick Tavern in downtown Maryville. This is Mike Edwards along with the rest of our broadcast crew, and now it's time for the Goatees Sports Page Player of the Week segment, sponsored by Anderson Lumber Company, where quality service is always a priority. Proudly serving Blount County for over 75 years. Troy Provo Heron, you're back. This is your segment. You got Greenback football in this morning, so be like old times.
Yeah,
all yours,
it
guys.
feels nice to be back in my little captain's chair here. I've missed this a little bit.
And you're sitting in where Coach Trail used to sit, too.
We are,
you know it.
It's a tough spot to fill.
Sir.
It's a very tough spot
Big
to fill.
shoes.
But I am joined by a pair of Greenback Cherokees after their 40-20 win over Oakdale yesterday. I'm joined by Caden Lawson, senior wide receiver, and Landon Clifford, who I think plays running back, linebacker, all that stuff. And so, fun times. And, guys, I just want to talk about last night. Obviously, maybe not the start of the year that you guys were hoping, but the last 2 weeks, much better. Just kind of how good has it felt these last 2 weeks to get on track, get a pair of region wins under your belt, and kind of right the ship a little bit?
I think it's been good because, like, we're finally starting to come together as a team and start getting some wins. I mean, the first we were kind of rocky, but I think we're going good now.
Caden?
I think just what he said. I think we're doing good. We need to just win out, go 7-3, hopefully. Make a deep run in the playoffs, hopefully, what we can do.
Guys, what was the big difference after that Coalfield loss, and why do you kind of think things have changed for the better these last 2 weeks?
I think the seniors had to step up and just lead the young guys. So, yeah, I think that's one thing we had to do better. So
yeah, I think it put a chip on our shoulder and told us, hey, we got to wake up, and it's time to go.
Obviously, this is a program with so much good history, and I'm sure, like, y'all were in middle school when it was kind of at its peak, right? Just how much as seniors have y'all kind of made an emphasis to try and help this program get back to where it was 5-6 years ago?
Yeah, it was fun to watch them when we were in middle school. We always, like, Friday nights we'd always, like, can't wait to go to the games, and we're trying to have, like, make the middle schoolers have that same experience for, like, when they get to high school too, like, just to be as good. So, yeah.
Yeah, I loved watching them, and I think we got to just start with the discipline and we can get back to where we were.
Obviously, Coach Clemmer was a big part of why they were so good back then. Just kind of, what has it been like to watch him kind of take this program over, and kind of what are the biggest changes that y'all have seen from Coach Clemmer as opposed to Coach last year?
It was very interesting. He makes us run a lot, which is not very fun, but I mean, I guess it's worth it. But yeah, he's a cool guy. So yeah, all the stuff he does is worth it in the long run. So yeah.
Yeah, just basically what he said. I mean, just putting in the work and time.
Yeah. Obviously, when you play for a 1A school, both of you guys are kind of used to playing both ways. You mentioned that he makes you run a lot. Do you feel like, though, I know nobody wants to run it, especially it's been real hot this season. It's been terrible. But do you guys feel a difference come fourth quarter about maybe how better conditioned you are than maybe years past?
Yeah, definitely. I don't feel tired. I really don't feel tired at all in the first quarter. Like, that's just weird. I don't know if it's the drilling or just the running or what. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't really feel tired either. I just feel like the other team's kind of slowing down, and we're still like kicking up, you know.
Yeah, that's a huge advantage in 1A football, don't y'all feel?
Yeah.
Now, Caden, obviously you've kind of had an interesting career arc here in terms of football, and for people who don't know, Caden was our Daily Times Baseball Pitcher of the Year last year, so this is my first time seeing you since we gave you that, so congratulations on that, by the way. But obviously you started as a quarterback, played a little bit of quarterback last year, and now you're kind of almost playing mostly exclusively wide receiver offensively. I know that you still play some quarterback here and there this year. Just kind of what has been the transition from quarterback to receiver?
It's been fun. I mean, I've been playing quarterback the past 2 weeks because our quarterback right now, he's hurt. He hurt his knee, but yeah, it's been fun. I mean, receivers, like, if I could pick a position, that'd be the one I can play. But, I mean, I'll play quarterback if I have to. I mean, but as long as I get to play, I'm fine.
Do you feel like it helps you, the fact that you play both? So as a quarterback, you kind of understand receivers, and as a receiver, you kind of understand what your quarterback's looking for and all that stuff?
Yeah, last night, like, when I'd come to the line, I'd see what they'd line up in. But last night, they were mostly man, so it was kind of easy to see what they were doing. But, yeah.
Landon, how much, obviously, when you have a quarterback change, how much does that change for you in terms of as a running back and kind of how much you carry the ball? Have you kind of seen an increased workload the last couple of weeks, knowing that Caden has kind of probably preseason-wise practiced more at receiver and stuff like that, so now he's kind of thrown back into that quarterback role.
Yeah, we've definitely picked up the run game a lot. You know, me and Michael have been running it downhill a lot, and then Caden will throw it when it's, 3rd and long or something, but most of the time we've been running it, just try to transition it back in.
As a running back, you got to love that, right? Just like the opportunity to kind of lay some bruises on some defenders and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Just, we mentioned about playing both ways and stuff like that, but when you look at these last 2 weeks, held Harriman to 14 points, held Oakdale to 20 points, just kind of what do y'all feel about your defense right now and how it's kind of coming along as the season has progressed?
I think we're doing good run-wise. We definitely got to protect the deep ball more, but I think we're pretty off good.
It's 2-0 now, or 2-1 in region, sorry, and obviously when you talk about this, everybody just wants to get to the postseason. Just how important is it to kind of keep this going? What was the message in the locker room yesterday after the win, and just kind of what y'all are talking about and kind of keeping this momentum going?
Just keep the momentum going and just keep playing how we've been playing. Just try and win out best we can.
Yeah, it's definitely a we're not satisfied attitude, and just got to keep going.
Just take me back to the beginning of the year, and obviously when you have a coaching change and all that stuff, things can get a little weird and all that stuff. Just what was the expectation y'all thought you could accomplish this year, and kind of how, when it started as maybe as not as y'all expected it to, how much did that impact it, and now how good do y'all feel about what y'all can accomplish this year now at this point?
I think we make a deep run. I mean, Clemmer, he coached us freshman and sophomore year. He left last year, but he came back. So, I mean, we know him pretty good. So it wasn't really that big of a coaching change because we already really knew him. But he was always the assistant coach. But, yeah. So I think we can go pretty far with him.
Yeah, I think we can. I think it's a good connection because, we already know all our coaches. We've been with them for a while. So I think it's good.
We talk about keeping that momentum up. Obviously, next week is a game against a team that's not in your region, but still, you want to win games like that and kind of test yourself a night as a program that has kind of proven to be really good in their classification, their region, all that stuff. Just how much do y'all look forward to the opportunity of playing the Indians next week?
I love playing Oneida. I don't like playing there. I'd rather play them here, but I like playing Oneida. They're fun to play.
Yeah, it is fun to play. It's a little far drive up there, though, but I like some competition.
If I'm not mistaken, you've gotten them a few times in baseball, haven't you?
I like playing Oneida.
And then after that, you guys get Rockwood, Midway, Sunbright. Right after that, 4 straight region games after that. When we talk about keeping up the momentum, you get a win on Friday. You guys have to feel really good going into that final stretch. Just, you don't ever want to say a non-region game is a must-win game, but when you look at it and just kind of how the confidence can build from something like that, just how important is it to kind of come back out on Friday and kind of make sure that you have more points than the other team on the other sideline?
Well, I think it's very important. I mean, I think it's really important that we went out just to help our chances, like a better seed in the playoffs. Because I mean, I think they look at the record too, like the overall record. So.
Yeah, that's the tiebreaker.
Yeah, I think that every game is a must-win game because, I like to win and I
don't like to lose.
I don't like to lose.
I understand that, guys. You look at the last 2 years, I believe, first-round exits in the postseason. Just what's the biggest thing you guys have learned from those defeats, and kind of how can you use those defeats to kind of help you? You mentioned you want to have a longer playoff run this year. What are the things you've learned from those early exits, and how do you think you can use that to kind of aid going deep in the postseason this year?
I think the early exits just hurt, just watching everybody else play. So I think it just makes us want to not be that. We want to send someone else home first before us. So yeah.
Yeah, I guess it put a chip on our shoulder, made us come together, as a team.
When you have that chip on your shoulder, just can you tell the difference in terms of work ethic in the off season and kind of stuff that guys are a little bit more hungry after a loss like that?
Yeah, it definitely can. It puts a lot of fire under somebody.
Yeah.
Guys, just when you have a new coach come in, and I know you said you know him, and obviously he's been around the program for forever, but how much has changed from an offensive standpoint, a defensive standpoint, and how much did you kind of have to adjust to a new style of football, if at all?
The defense wasn't any different. We've had the same defense coordinator since our freshman year. Love him, good guy. And then our offensive coordinator, well, he's always been there, but he's been more defense. But I think they switched him over to offense this year. But he's a great offensive coordinator.
Yeah, he's a good offensive coordinator. He's been working real hard. He's always got it planned out for the game plan before anybody. And our defense has been the same. Decent, pretty good.
Yeah.
Has there been any differences offensively that you all noticed from maybe a year ago in terms of what you guys do differently, anything like that?
Yeah, we run the ball a little different this year.
Yeah.
We have a little more types of runs, which I like. So.
Yeah, a lot of adversity when it comes to running the ball, and a lot of pass plays too. Just a lot of different plays.
Do you guys feel as though over these first 5 weeks that you've seen that offense kind of come together and be, a little bit more cohesive?
Yeah, the offense is definitely getting better each and every week, so that's good.
Yeah, I think so too.
Just in terms of building that offense, just what was maybe the biggest thing y'all had to change after those first 3 weeks?
Probably the leader on offense.
Uh-huh.
I think we need to find a leader. I think we found a couple, so yeah, I think we're good.
Yeah, I'd definitely say the leader.
Who are your leaders?
I'd say probably us.
Yeah.
Like Michael Payne, he's not here, and Connor, and like all the seniors. I'm just say all the seniors.
Yeah.
How much? Obviously, when coaches talk about leadership and stuff like that, I think it's easy for kids to maybe just think like, oh, we're seniors and it'll just be, people will watch us. But how much did you have to learn how to be a leader? How about being vocal, about leading by example, all that stuff?
I think being a leader is important. I mean, I was like a captain last year, but I wasn't much of a talker. But I realized this year I got to talk more and just get them more involved. So and I think that's worked. So yeah.
Yeah, you definitely got to step up and lead by example. They're watching every move you make and they're following it, so you gotta lead by example.
Just how much have you guys taken the emphasis of kind of teaching young guys and all that stuff? Because obviously, this being your last however many games, you'll move on to wherever you go on, but they are the ones who get kind of left here to kind of keep what y'all build here. Just how much have y'all kind of had those conversations with them about, hey, this is the expectation, this is how hard you need to work, all that stuff?
I don't know if we really talked to him. I think we just push him in practice.
Right.
Like there's this one kid named Moses. He's in 8th grade, but he's about as big as him, and he gets killed every day. But I mean, he's gonna be good in the next couple of years.
Good.
Yeah, I think giving them a lot of reps. We give them a lot of reps in practice. Get them ready, get them learning the offense.
But there's a lot of other young guys too.
Yeah. That's also kind of the benefit of being a 1A school is that you guys have your roster is much smaller than other people, so kids don't really have the option to just sit back and like watch and learn. Like you have to participate, you have to be in practice, get those reps and stuff like that. When you guys were freshmen, sophomores, how much do you remember how beneficial those reps were for you, and just kind of take me back to early on in your high school career and that kind of stuff?
Yeah, we was always on like scout team, like linebackers, like just like little test dummies, I guess. And so we just had to. I mean, it was kind of scary, but I mean, it helped us in the long run because they were always bigger than us. We were smaller back then, so yeah.
Yeah, it really did. It toughened us up good, and I guess that's why I'm pretty physical now. But
yeah.
Take me through last night. Kind of what are the things you felt went well, things that didn't go well, and you kind of have to improve on heading into Oneida next week?
I think our offense is pretty good. I think we threw the ball pretty well, and I think our run defense is pretty good. It's just we got to cover the deep ball. Like, we give up too many big plays that should not be big plays, so you got to do that better.
Yeah, the deep ball is definitely an issue, but I mean, I think we came together as a team last night and, got the work done.
Yeah, and I think, again, I talk a lot about 1A football here, but I think there are so many times in 1A where some teams just like to chuck it and they just like to throw it deep, and so you got to be prepared to defend that thing. Guys, I want to thank y'all for coming on this morning, and we wish y'all the best of luck against Oneida next week, and hopefully we can get y'all back in after you rattle off about 5-6 more wins, right?
Yep.
There we go. Thank y'all this morning. Appreciate you.
Thank
Back
you.
to you, Mike.
Okay, Troy, time for a break. When we return, it's Sports Headlines with Blount County Sports Hall of Famer Donnie Moore and the Boyd Sports Spotlight. You're listening to the Goatee Sports Page, and now stay tuned for the best in local sports.
Yes, thank you.
Since 1925, Anderson Lumber in Alcoa has proudly served and supported our local communities. But did you know Anderson Lumber is so much more than a lumber store? You can stop in anytime and see our incredible kitchen showroom. From floors to cabinets and everything in between, Anderson Lumber's experts can help you design your dream kitchen. And then our install team will make it a reality. For anything home, we welcome you to visit Anderson Lumber in Alcoa or shop over 67,000 items online at AndersonLumberCompany.com. Anderson Lumber, since 1925.
Aubrey's is known for real comfort, real food, real good. But remember, Aubrey's is also really into Blount County. Aubrey's Maryville has been a strong supporter of local schools and sports programs for more than 15 years. From baseball to football, dance teams, and marching bands, Aubrey's has helped schools and youth programs generate thousands of dollars. It's easy for us to do because it's the right thing to do. So the next time you're looking to choose a place to eat, we hope you'll choose Aubrey's. Real comfort, real food, real good. See what's on the menu at aubreysrestaurants.com.
We all want our loved ones to be safe. Denso in Maryville is at the forefront of creating technology for safer vehicles. Join the automotive industry with Denso in a fast, challenging, clean, and safe environment. They offer great benefits and competitive pay, as well as a convenient on-site healthcare facility, cafes, fitness center, and more. Start your future now. Entry-level production positions start at $16 an hour for second or third shift. Visit densocareers.com/Maryville to learn more and apply. Merlin's Music World in Maryville is owned and operated by Dylan Davis and has been a fixture in Maryville since 1987. Guitars, amplifiers, lessons, sound system, and video system installations are products available at Merlin's. Merlin's also offers a 24-track digital recording studio featuring audio engineer Rusty Chambers. Visit Merlin's at 1920 East Lamar Alexander Parkway or call 977-0093.
It's payday, and on payday, you want to have access to your money right away. When you enroll for direct deposit at Knoxville TVA Employees Credit Union, your money comes to you with no waiting. It's the fastest and most secure way to get paid. Getting set up is easy. All you need is your account number and our routing number. Find out more at tvacreditunion.com.
Join us now.
Federally insured by NCUA. Some restrictions apply. Ask for details.
Welcome back to the Blue Tick Tavern in downtown Maryville. This is Mike Edwards, the Greenfield Gunner, and it's time for this week's sports headlines with Donnie Moore. Donnie, you got a few this week? What's going on?
Well, it just so happens that we do have a few headlines.
All right.
This week, so let's get right to them. What do you think? Well, the biggest one, if you were watching Monday Night Football this week, you saw it happen live and in color on your TV set. New York Jets quarterback Aaron Rodgers underwent surgery on his torn Achilles tendon on Wednesday, beginning his hopes for a 2024 return to the field. The NFL's oldest player told about the surgery performed by well-known surgeon Dr. Neil Elatrache on his Instagram story Thursday. The injury took place on the fourth play of his New York Jets career on Monday night against Buffalo, leaving the Jets in the hands of the number 2 overall draft pick, Zach Wilson, under center for the remainder of this season. You know, it's kind of gut-wrenching to see that happen. It didn't look like a severe injury at the time. But
no, he didn't look like he was in a whole lot of pain. Maybe he was. But last night came across that he's going to try to be back for the playoffs. But are the Jets planning on trading him to some place?
Possibly.
I don't know if the Jets are going to be in the playoffs.
Yeah, I'm not sure about that.
That's his goal, is try to be back for the playoffs.
If Aaron Rodgers thinks he's going to be back for the playoffs, then he is apparently more delusional than I thought. That's like a 12 to 18 month recovery for a ruptured Achilles tendon.
Yeah. Are we taking odds on that one?
There's no odds that would take me to take Rodgers being back, but and if he is, he's not. He's going to be at 60%. Like, why would you do that?
That's one of the worst injuries you can have.
It's one of the worst. And my thing is what he's going to be 40 next year.
He is
coming off an Achilles. Like, it's really hard to think that he'll ever be the same.
That's true.
And I hate it for him.
I do too.
I will say this, that all my best friends are Jets fans. And so I did have some fun at their expense a little bit. And I hate when a guy gets hurt. But, Jets fans all offseason have been like, oh, we're the best team in the world. We're the best team in the world. And I just kept saying, guys, you have the worst offensive tackles I've ever seen. You're not going to be able to protect Rodgers. And then 4 plays in, what happens, Mike? Dwayne Brown does something that didn't even look like anything I've ever seen an offensive lineman do. He basically got on his tiptoes, and he dove forward for somebody. Well, you can't do that in the NFL.
Nope.
The guy runs right by him, and down goes Aaron Rodgers. I didn't expect it to happen 4 plays in. I thought he would make it at least 3 or 4 weeks before he got hurt.
I don't know if Donnie did this, but, the other day at the meeting, I said, well, 4 plays, divide that into a salary. What is that per play
A lot.
that the Jets fans got to see?
Made about $15 million per play.
It's almost like you're sitting there as a Jet fan watching the game and going, did you see that? Was Rodgers in the game? Really? I didn't see it.
Hey,
4 plays.
Credit to the Jets. That defense is excellent. Not as good as my Dallas Cowboys defense, but it's the second best defense in the league, and they still won that game.
Yeah,
and
they're going to have to play a lot of defense.
Going to have to play a lot of defense, and Zach Wilson's going to have to be the dude that they thought they drafted number 2 overall for them to have a chance at the playoffs.
And Mike and I were talking at the meeting Wednesday too. Did you see those Jets? The faces, the looks on their faces.
Horrified. It was just like a here we go again type of thing. Like, it's just like one of those franchises that never seems to get out of the blocks, always seems to get in its own way. And it's like you finally get to a point right now where you're like, going into the season, you're the Hard Knocks thing. Everybody thinks you're going to be good. You think like you're the best team in the planet. And then just like that, in the snap of a finger, back to the cellar, my friends.
Those fans were emptying their popcorn boxes and throwing up in them.
Yeah, no kidding.
Amazing.
Oh, it was awful. Well, Michigan men's basketball coach Juwan Howard underwent a successful heart procedure to resect an aortic aneurysm and repair his aortic valve, the school announced yesterday. Howard is expected to make a complete recovery within 6 to 12 weeks and could return to basketball activity in as little as 4 weeks. That could put Howard back on the court for the start of the Wolverines' 2023-24 season, which begins with a November 3rd game against Northwood. While Howard is out of commission, Wolverines associate coach Phil Martelli will lead the program.
Yeah. Mike almost has one of those every time I argue with him on the show.
Well, I've got one. I've got an aortic aneurysm. So that kind of,
you know where he's coming from.
When I
right
see
there.
that kind of scares me a little bit. But, I'll go to UT Hospital. They're taking care of it.
Get it checked up on.
They're not something. That's not something to be messing around with.
Got Miami and Notre Dame.
I'm glad
brawling.
that came out well for him.
Yeah, no kidding. Well, the 2023 Maui Invitational, one of the most prestigious preseason college men's basketball tournaments, will relocate to Honolulu on Oahu while Maui recovers from the deadly August wildfires, officials announced yesterday. The tournament is usually held during Thanksgiving weekend at the Lahaina Civic Center, but Lahaina was devastated by the wildfire that destroyed homes, businesses, and killed at least 115 people. The tournament this year will be played at Simplified Arena at Sheriff Center on the University of Hawaii campus. Chaminade, Tennessee, Syracuse, Purdue, Gonzaga, Kansas, UCLA, and Marquette are the 8 teams participating in the tournament.
I think they've missed a total boat out there. They should have brought an aircraft carrier into Pearl Harbor and played it on the aircraft carrier.
There you go.
Out there, the whole deal.
It'd been a great idea.
Yeah, now they do that. They do play a game out there on an aircraft carrier, but what a great opportunity to bring that in. Well, it's close enough to December the 7th. You could just go ahead and have it December the 7th out there around that date. Huh?
Well, the first round of the
Pearl Harbor Classic.
The Pearl Harbor Classic.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, there we go.
Yes, sir. There you go.
I'm a marketing genius. What do I want me to say?
Well, they don't draw many people anyway. They play it in the high school gym pretty much out there. I mean, they got to clear the gym out to play the next game.
I know.
Yeah.
The first round of the NASCAR Cup Series playoff series is history, and two drivers won't have to worry with the first elimination coming up. Sunday's Kansas winner Tyler Reddick joins the previous week's Darlington winner Kyle Larson in snagging automatic berths into the second round. Kansas proved extremely costly to regular season champ Martin Truex Jr., who cut a tire early in the race, and the ensuing crash left his car unrepairable and out of the race. That dropped him from 6th in the standings to 13th below the cut line. Tonight, the boys are at Bristol, 7:30 p.m. on USA.
And guess what's forecast?
Rain.
Hey, I had it.
Bristol equals rain.
Yeah, but no dirt.
That's right.
So it'd be
no
worse
mud.
It'd be worse.
Hey, I had an idea for NASCAR.
What's that?
Since they never seem to stop racing anyway, right? This is a way for the drivers to get a little bit more of a break while also maintaining the constant racing schedule that they have. So on March 1st in Daytona, you just start racing, right?
Yep.
And the race doesn't stop until the day before Thanksgiving. You just keep going
all week.
If you need to go, if you need to pit and go to sleep, you do. No, not all week, all year. You go from you just race around the circle from March 1st to November 20th, whatever it is, and then if you need to stop and go to sleep, you go in and you go to sleep, and wherever you're at when you wake up is where you're at.
That's where
if you
you
need to go to the bathroom, it's where you're at, and that's just what you do. You'd race it for 8 months consecutively.
Well, NASCAR's it's notorious for races. They got the most races.
Oh, yeah.
My brother used to say you could go to a NASCAR race, get drunk, sober up, 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 and still drive home.
And drive home. That's right.
Yeah.
All right, I got a few on this day, September 16th items right here.
So long.
1953, the American League approves the St. Louis Browns' move to become, you know what? Know who?
The St. Louis Browns, they became the Cleveland Browns. The St. Louis Rams,
Orioles.
the Baltimore
Yep.
Yeah.
you weren't even
1960, the Milwaukee Braves' future Hall of Fame pitcher,
Charlie Palaio.
Warren Spahn, no hits Phillies 4-0 at County Stadium. 1973, on this date, Buffalo running back O.J. Simpson rushes for a then NFL record 250 yards in the Bills' 31-13 win. Also criminal. At New England. 1987, California Angels' Bob Boone catches a record 1,919th Major League game. Can you imagine a catcher catching almost 2,000 games?
He has no knees.
I'm sure he doesn't.
Absolutely no knees.
No knees. They might as well just cut him off, right? Cut his legs off right there at the knees.
That's just bone.
Serious.
Bone.
Wow.
Just
1988, Cincinnati Reds' Tom Browning pitches a perfect game, beats the L.A. Dodgers 1-0.
Wow.
For him.
Yep. 1995, on this date, Atlanta Braves pitcher Greg Maddux sets a record of 17 consecutive road wins.
Impressive.
It sure is.
Hard to do.
Birthdays on this date. 1934, Basketball Hall of Famer Elgin Baylor was born on this
and
day.
if Lonnie was here, he could tell you about he had all the records in Washington until Elgin broke all
Until
that.
Elgin broke them, that's right.
Yeah.
Miss you, Lonnie.
We miss Lonnie. 1942, four-time America's Cup winning skipper Dennis Conner, born on this day. 1947, birthday, NBA star Lucius Allen, played for the Bucks.
Yeah, UCLA.
Yep. 1948, tennis star Rosemary Casals. Remember her playing? She was a 12-time
people.
She won 12 Grand Slam doubles titles. Now, she's before your time, Troy. 1955 birthday, Hall of Fame shortstop, center fielder Robin Yount.
Okay, I've heard of him.
Played for the Brewers. 1958 birthday, pitcher Oral Hershiser.
One of the best.
Dodgers and Indians. 1959 birthday, left fielder Tim Raines. Played for the Expos, the Yanks, and the Chi Sox. 1993 birthday, golfer Bryson DeChambeau.
Hey.
Yeah, late birthday. Deaths on this day, commemorating 1993. Listen to this one. Willie Mosconi. You ever heard of that guy?
No. Sounds like a pizza.
He was a 12. Let's see. Not 12. Hang on. He was a pocket billiards world champion from 1941 to 1957.
There you go.
Consecutive world
Who beat him
champion.
out? Fats Domino?
I would say
Fats
so. Minnesota
Domino.
Fats.
Minnesota Fats.
Minnesota Fats, I think. 1941 to 1957, world champion, pocket billiards champion. And died on this day in 2009, Miles Brand, Miles Brand. He was the fourth
president of Indiana.
NCAA champion, NCAA president.
Yeah, got rid of Bob Knight at Indiana.
Yep.
Good.
Well, that's it for this week's sports headlines. Now let's bring the Boyd Sports Spotlight into focus. Back to you, Gunner.
Hey, and now the Boyd Sports Spotlight shines on today's SEC football schedule, and so we're going to bring back in Marcus Fitzsimmons, if we can locate him, and
if we can find him.
Sports Page veteran Donnie Moore, and of course Troy Provo-Heron is here with us, and I'm Mike Edwards, your host of the Sports Page, and so let's talk a little bit of football before we get into the SEC here. Big stories in college football. Troy, Colorado, and Deion Sanders continue to roll out there.
Aren't they something?
That's the story of college football, pretty much.
Story.
And, I'll tell you, we talk about you got to have a quarterback. His son is doing the job out there at Colorado.
Shedeur.
You know what? He reminds me a lot of Hendon Hooker.
He does.
You know,
he plays a lot like him.
He's mobile with his legs, but can stand in the pocket, deliver accurate passes, and makes the right decision. And, I mean, you know, Colorado is an immensely talented team. Obviously, Travis Hunter's gotten a lot of, you know, the headlines because he's playing 100 snaps a game, both sides of the ball. And when you have that much turnover and how he's done recruiting-wise, they're a really talented football team. But none of that matters without Shedeur Sanders, and he's been excellent, highly efficient, really smart with the football for the most part. And they, you know, like I took week one as maybe a grain of salt because, like, I thought TCU was way overranked, way overfavored in that game for a team that lost all the players that they had in their runner-up season a year ago. Like, that's not the same TCU team that played in the national championship a year ago. It's not even half the team.
Not even close.
And so I wanted to see what they could do. And last week against Nebraska in a big rivalry game, granted against not a super good Nebraska team or anything like that, but to come back and do that and show some resilience into maybe a tough game, I think Colorado might be the real deal. Now, do I think they're going to win the Pac-12? No. But I don't think there's anything saying that they can't win 7-8 games in year one under Deion Sanders. And I think that would have been asinine to think before the start of the season.
And that's a real improvement, too.
Yeah, well, he went out and got a lot of players.
He did.
And that was the unknown factor with them. What
cohesiveness.
Quality of player did you get?
Right.
Well, obviously, he got some pretty good players.
Yeah.
And they're going to win today. They got Colorado State coming in, and game days there.
3-0.
Game days there.
Right.
And so, you know, a lot of hype out there. I think another big story is the Pac-12. You know, all the teams except a couple. I think Washington State and Oregon State. Everybody else has jumped ship. And right now, I know it's early, but a third of the top 25 is made up of Pac-12 teams.
Yeah.
A third of the top 25. And, of course, I know it's early, but I think one of the reasons that this is so is they've got some outstanding quarterbacks out there playing in that conference right now. I don't know about all the other players, but they've got some quality quarterbacks out there playing.
Yeah, I mean, maybe no quarterback in the country has more ties to the Goatee Sports Page than Michael Penix Jr. at Tennessee, at Washington, because he was a Tennessee commit. He played for Indiana before transferring to Washington, and he looks like a legitimate Heisman candidate. Washington, I think they get – who did Washington get today? I'm blanking. They get Michigan State. Today, and a chance to go 3-0, and they look like – Washington looks like a team that can make the playoff like they do. And I know we're kind of sitting here only 2 weeks.
They came close last year.
Yeah, I know that we're sitting here only 2 weeks into this thing, but they look like a legitimate playoff contender. And I don't think I've ever said that about a Pac-12 team before.
And there they were out good. there. The main cog out there was the TV contract.
Yeah.
You know, they didn't have the TV contract, and look now at Southern Cal's strong out there, and you got Oregon. It's strong.
Oregon
Washington
looks good.
And golly, Washington State is being left out, and they got a pretty good football team. Oregon. I mean, looks to be a pretty solid conference right now early.
Yeah, it's a weird college football year because you have the Colorado, you have Pac-12 playing decent football early. You look at some of the teams that are up there in the rankings that have kind of become afterthoughts for a little bit. You look at Miami, you look at Florida State, you look at Penn State. Some of those teams that traditionally very good programs that have been dormant or maybe not as dominant in the case of Penn State over the last couple of years, and here they are all knocking on the door in the top 10 and looking pretty good.
Yeah, well, let's talk about the Southeastern Conference. A lot of question marks early.
Yeah.
There's been some big games. LSU lost the big game at Florida with Florida State. and then Alabama losing to Texas last week. There's 2 top teams that were expected to go in the SEC, and they've lost early. And I don't know. Are we looking right now at a league that's got Georgia and then maybe everybody else, or is it just too early to make that assumption?
I'm not willing to take Tennessee out of that mix yet. Like, I really do think, and I'm not sitting here saying that Tennessee's going to beat Georgia or anything like that, but I'm not willing to take Tennessee out of that mix. Alabama looks like it has a problem. And you just look at what they've done over the last 10 years, really. They've either had a really efficient quarterback like a Mac Jones, or they've had a really dynamic quarterback like a Bryce Young. And it doesn't seem like they have a guy who's either of those right now. And that's problems. Like we've talked about it a lot here. You can't win at any level of football, whether it be middle school, high school, college, NFL. You can't win without a quarterback that can win games nowadays. And I just don't know that Alabama has that guy. Yeah. And they just look so human. Like, that Texas game was weird. Like, they just looked like just your run-of-the-mill football team.
I'll bring this up. Brian Kelly's down at LSU, and you know where he came from.
He came
and
from
now you got
a team that wears gold helmets.
Now you got Tommy Rees, the offensive coordinator at Alabama. You know where he came from. And now they've knocked out Milroe.
Who is
as
that?
their quarterback, Alabama.
Oh, yeah.
The quarterback. And they're putting in Tyler Booker.
Book.
Yeah, Tyler. Yeah.
Ian. Booker. No, you're right. I'm thinking Ian Book.
Bucher, if I'm pronouncing it right. Yeah. I don't know. But they're going to start him today. So is the reason the league's going down is because we've got all this Notre Dame influence? That's my question.
There's just no doubt about it.
I knew you would give an honest answer to why the SEC's down a little bit.
Here's the problem. Like, when good programs start swimming in the dumpster, you're going to smell like trash.
There you go.
And that's just the way it goes sometimes.
There you go. So you're not looking for Alabama to regroup a whole lot here. It's going to be a tough year
it's going to be tough for them.
Yeah, okay. Hey, let's talk about some SEC games. South Carolina, and I know, Troy, this is another favorite of yours.
One of my whipping boys.
Beamer Ball. They're 1-1. They lost to North Carolina. They're at number 1 Georgia today. Georgia 2-0, and that game's on CBS. That's their prime game, CBS TV. Yeah. Why would you put that game on at the 27.5?
Oh, because of Spencer Rattler. You haven't heard? He's the best quarterback in the country.
Yeah, well, he was against us. He was against Tennessee last year. That was his only game, I guess, last year was the Tennessee game. But anyway, Georgia, 27.5-point favorite. That's a lot of points, huh?
South Carolina's not good. You know I don't like South Carolina. I don't think they're very good.
South Carolina was one of those teams in the SEC East that they were thinking maybe around third.
Yeah, no, that was crazy people who thought that.
Yes, but it's not a strong league. SEC East is not a strong league.
I mean, not overly strong, but they're not good enough to finish third in it.
Well, I know, but who is?
Well,
Florida,
Georgia will finish first.
I think Kentucky. They can't even hardly beat Eastern Kentucky. So I don't know.
Missouri doesn't look half bad.
No, they don't. But we'll get them coming up here. Well, let's just talk about Missouri. They're 2-0. And they're playing number 15 Kansas State today, and that game's going to start at 12 on the SEC Network. I'll tell you, if Missouri goes outside of the league today to play a really good Kansas State squad and wins, that's going to open some eyes with them. And, Kansas State, they're a good program. They're only a 4.5-point favorite going into this game. So it looks that the Tigers could come out of this.
Missouri looks dynamic.
And if that happens,
like offensively, they look good.
Then I'm thinking a little bit more respect for them when Tennessee goes out there than I had.
Yeah, I agree.
I don't know the rest of Tennessee's schedule. I thought it was going to be a pretty challenging schedule, but as it's turned out, the first part of the year doesn't look near as tough as it did before.
I would go as far as to say Missouri is the only team in the SEC East that has an upward trajectory right now. Like, I think, if you're sitting right here, right now, I think you feel maybe a little bit worse about Tennessee than you did when the season started. I think you feel a little bit worse about Georgia than when you did when the season started. Not saying that it's, drastic. I still think they're going to win the East. I still think they're going to make the playoff. But they just don't look as good as they've been the last 2 years.
And then you can talk about LSU, Alabama, and how about our friends down at Texas A&M?
I'm just talking about the East, though. Florida seems to be down. Yeah. Kentucky seems to be down more than we thought. Vanderbilt is Vanderbilt. And Missouri, you could argue, is the only team in the SEC right now that looks better than you thought they would at the beginning of the year.
Oh, I'm looking at the East, and I'm going, I can't wait till 2024.
Well,
when we can see.
It's not possible for Missouri to look worse than I thought at the beginning of the
That's
year.
fair. Well, that's true. No, that's not true. They could look like Vanderbilt.
No, I really had them beneath Vanderbilt.
Yeah.
That's your fault, then. I don't have to tell you.
I mean,
hey,
that's a personal problem.
Hey, let's talk about Georgia Tech. 1-1 is at number 17 Ole Miss today. Ole Miss is a 19-point favorite. They're 2-0. That's at 7:30 on the SEC Network. But the storyline is the problems they're having down there with the lawsuit with the linemen. Marcus, fill us in on that deal.
I don't know if anybody could particularly fill you in on that deal, except to say Ole Miss and Lane Kiffin are being sued for, what do you want to call it, mental cruelty to a former player who is saying he was singled out and was not treated the same way with his mental disability as female players and white players in Ole Miss athletic department. Now, I'm not sure I'm qualified to parse all of that. I do know that the Ole Miss fan base has basically said the guy quit coming to practices and quit showing up for team sessions, got kicked off the team, but was kept on scholarship. So what is he griping about what happened while he was on scholarship but not on the team?
Really? Yeah. We talked about it before the show. I could write a book on abuse and mental abuse and physical abuse in major athletic programs back in the 60s and 70s. It was an entirely different animal, back then. You read some of this and you're going, lawsuit? What's that all about? I don't get that, so I don't
Mike,
know.
you could sue Tennessee?
I mean, I come in here. I come in here every week. And I'm mentally abused by Troy. You know what I'm saying?
That's not true. This is the first time I've been here in 4 weeks. That's not true at all.
And Mike's getting ready to crack under the pressure.
Exactly. I don't know whether I'm going to be able to finish or not here. I will try. Hey, BYU is at Arkansas. Arkansas is an 8.5-point favorite. That game's at 7:30 on ESPN2. Both teams undefeated, 2-0. BYU is that team that Tennessee bought out early. Tennessee could have gone out there and played the first game. Maybe it's a good thing that Tennessee didn't go out there, but this is shaping up, and I think Arkansas's got a much improved team this year.
So that'll be a good game.
Yeah, I want to keep my eyes on that game because both teams have been impressive early. Should be a good one.
BYU is Big 12 this year. Is that right?
The what?
BYU's Big 12 this year.
I can't keep up with it anymore, man. Yeah. I really can't. We got teams that are in. We got teams that are in Wyoming playing in the ACC. It doesn't make any sense. College football, before we go, Donnie, college football, can we sit down and have a legitimate conversation about renaming these conferences in the offseason? Because it's ridiculous now. We're going to have Southeastern Conference with a team in Texas and Oklahoma. We're going to have an ACC team with a team in the West Coast.
And the Big Ten
has 54 teams.
And the Big Ten Conference with a team in England and the Soviet Union, right?
And
the Big Ten.
They don't even have 10.
World to world.
They got 24 teams. Call it the Big 24 if you want. Yeah. I'm okay with that. But we got to change something. This is ridiculous.
Yet. The next alignment will be the Big Ten merging with the SEC, where we'll have.
Or the Premier League in England, and then we'll start playing soccer, too.
Who knows? Yeah. Hey, it's time for a break, and when we return, it's the Bulls prediction segment. You're listening to the Goatee Sports Page, and now stay tuned for the best in local sports.
The Blue Tick Tavern is home to the tastiest pizza in Blount County. Try our signature Broadway barbecue pizza, grilled chicken and red onions covered in mounds of mozzarella. Or sink your teeth into our one-of-a-kind chicken and bacon pizza, made with an olive oil base, grilled chicken, bacon, red onions, and covered in Brussels petals. The Blue Tick Tavern also has salads, sandwiches, and the area's largest beer selection. Regularly recognized as the best pizza in Blount County, it's the Blue Tick Tavern, located at 128 West Broadway in downtown Maryville. Waters Equipment is your East Tennessee New Holland agriculture and construction dealer. Waters Equipment has been serving Blount County for 48 years and has 2 locations in Maryville for sales and service for New Holland equipment. Offering shop and field service for trucks and equipment of all brands, Waters offers equipment rentals for New Holland skid steer, Mini X, and tractors. Call 238-9000 for your rental needs. That's 238-9000.
Waters Equipment New Holland, excellence in service. For over 50 years and 3 generations, the people of Blount County have trusted Stevenson Tire with their vehicles and their families. Our mission has always been simple: to provide quality products at reasonable prices with exceptional customer service. Featuring tire products from Michelin, BF Goodrich, Uniroyal, Bridgestone, Firestone, and Yokohama, Stevenson Tire also offers alignment and brake services at affordable prices. Stevenson Tire Company, 2411 East Broadway Avenue in Maryville. Call 983-1621 or online at StevensonTire.net.
Your newspaper? That's right. The Daily Times is your newspaper, tailored to where you live, emphasizing the things that affect you and keeping track of the people and players in our community. The award-winning Daily Times can be delivered each morning right to your door or inbox with the latest in local news and sports. For a 30-day free trial offer, call 981-1100 and begin enjoying your life, your times, every day with the Daily Times.
The Roger L. Newman Company began in 1984 with a vision of providing Blount County with excellent heating and cooling service. Mr. Newman also wanted a real business. No gimmicks and no high-pressure sales. They just fix it or replace it. They want to stay within your budget and make you comfortable. Their motto still stands true today: call us first, we'll be there. Call Roger L. Newman Company at 982-5446 or visit online at rogerlnewman.com. Cooler temperatures are approaching. Upgrade your furnace now for as little as $50 a month.
Welcome back to the Blue Tick Tavern in downtown Maryville. This is Mike Edwards, and I'm here along with Marcus Fitzsimmons and Troy Provo-Heron and Donnie Moore, and it's time for this week's Bowl Predictions segment. One game we didn't mention in the SEC, number 14 LSU is at Mississippi State. That game's at noon on ESPN, and that's a big game for Brian Kelly.
Every game's a big one for Brian Kelly. He's a loser.
I know, but he can't seem to win the big one, but I think this is they can't afford to lose to Mississippi State, or
I agree.
They're in trouble.
I don't disagree with you.
They're in big trouble. Hey, let's go with the picks. I'm going to open up with Tennessee and at Florida. Florida's a 5.5-point favorite or thereabouts. They're 1-1. Tennessee's 2-0. Troy, I'll open with you. I know what you're going to pick, but go ahead and enlighten us.
Tennessee, Florida?
Yeah.
I don't like Wisconsin quarterbacks. Never have, never will. Don't think Graham Mertz can get the job done. Not particularly worried about Florida that much in general. I'm picking Tennessee, and if we're taking the points at 6.5 or 5.5, whatever you want to pick, I think Tennessee wins by double digits today.
Okay, Marcus?
Well, I sat here earlier in the show and talked about how I like the coaching matchup. When it comes time to put the money down, I'm saying Florida. Tennessee's going to have to prove it before I pick them.
Look at me scared.
Donnie Moore?
I've said all along that Tennessee's going to have to prove it to me before they can win in the swamp. But I've been thinking, and if
I smelled smoke earlier.
That's Donnie Moore thinking. Yeah. That's dangerous. That's dangerous stuff when he's thinking.
And if Dan Mullen has got enough guts to pick the Vols, then I can pick them too.
Okay, I'll mark you down. Here's the way I'm seeing it. Tennessee's averaging 75 snaps a game. That's a lot of snaps.
It is.
That's a lot of snaps. And we talk about the quarterback. There's no doubt in my mind Tennessee's got the best quarterback in Milton. And the Vols are due. And we've got the coaching factor in we're playing hyper ball right now. We're going to get some points. Listen, I'm going to take Tennessee. I'm going to take Tennessee in this one. I think it's going to be a close game. I think it's going to be closer than some people think because it's just the rivalry and what's going into it. But I like the Vols.
Do you remember what we talked about last year?
I mean, they're just due to beat them down there.
Do you remember what we talked about last year? We talked last year before the game in Neyland where a lot of us said, if not now, win.
Yeah.
It correlates to this one too.
I guess
if not now, when are you going to beat them in the swamp?
Sooner or later,
right?
you're gonna win.
If not now, win.
It can't go on and on and on and on and on and on, can it? I don't think so. Hey, let's talk about BYU and Arkansas. We already talked about that game, but Donnie, who you like? Arkansas is an 8-point favorite.
Is it at Arkansas?
It's at Arkansas.
You listening, Ray? Give me the Hogs.
I'll take the Hogs. Marcus?
Arkansas.
Troy?
Keep KJ Jefferson healthy, but I will pick the Hogs.
Unanimous.
I worry about him when, KJ gets hurt a lot, and when he gets hurt, they get real bad. But if KJ Jefferson stays healthy, I'm picking Arkansas.
South Carolina at Georgia, Marcus. 26 and a half points, Georgia.
26 and a half?
Yeah.
I'm going with Georgia. I think Rattler can be bad enough against them, and that they're going to get some easy defensive scores.
He can be that bad against anybody, can he?
I don't know. I don't. I guess I could just go ahead and write it down without asking you. But Troy.
Yeah, South Carolina stinks, man. I just don't.
How long is it? It's been so long since we've had somebody say the word stinks on
this. This is one great football team versus a team that just is going nowhere fast. Georgia.
Donnie.
Yeah, I don't know whether they can pull that line or not, but I'm going to take Georgia.
Yeah. I'll tell you what. I've got great faith in Beamer Ball, and I've gone with them in the past, and they've come through. They've come through for me.
Have.
They've come through for me. He always comes through when I need him. So I'm going to go with South Carolina and the 26 and a half points today. That's a lot of points. That's a lot of points.
Like I said, I don't know whether they can
Spencer
pull that line or not.
Spencer Rattler's capable of giving Georgia 21 of those by himself.
Mark it down. South Carolina today. South Carolina for me. Pittsburgh at West Virginia. Both teams are 1-1. West Virginia is a 2.5-point favorite at home.
I don't know anything about either of these football teams.
Well, you know that they play that song that John Denver
and for
sings
that
at West Virginia.
That reason alone, I'm going with the Mountaineers.
See?
Mountain Mama, take me home. Country roads.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. That's all you need.
That's all I need.
That's all you need.
Yeah.
Marcus?
You said the game's at Pitt?
No, it's at West Virginia.
It's at West Virginia.
At West Virginia.
The country roads.
Give me West Virginia then.
Yeah.
Home team seems to have an advantage.
Yeah, I'm going to take the home team, too.
West Virginia?
Is John Denver flipping the coin at midfield?
He's dropping it from heaven.
Yeah. That
John
coach,
Denver dead?
Thank God I'm a country boy.
that coach at West Virginia is dead as a crocodile.
I didn't know John Denver had passed away.
I'm going to take Pittsburgh. I'm going to take Pittsburgh.
How am I supposed to know that?
Yeah, Pittsburgh. All right. Last pick.
Yeah, we got time.
We got time? Okay, last pick. 2-0 Louisville. 2-0 Louisville is at Indiana. That game's being played in Indianapolis. Indiana is 1-1. Now, let me fill you in. Do you know who, Troy, Indiana's quarterback is?
Some white guy, I'm guessing.
You don't know?
No.
Well, Taven Jackson.
Oh, it is Taven Jackson. You're right. That's my fault. Yeah, it is Taven Jackson.
Playing pretty well up there.
Yeah.
And that's the second quarterback they've got. They got a pipeline down here. Just throw your quarterbacks away. We'll take them up here.
Right.
That's about all they got. That's about all the.
You're really selling this well.
I mean, that's about all they got.
Where did
they're
come from?
And Indiana's really kind of concerned about this game because
Yeah.
They've bought Louisville out the next 2 years. They're not going to play them anymore after this game. They've paid them their $2 million or whatever, and they're out. So, who do you like?
You want me to lead off?
Yeah, Troy.
All right, I got a little bit of a story here because I'm one to hold a grudge. Last year, I'm sitting at the top of Neyland Stadium, and I had the under in the Tennessee-Akron game. And Tennessee was about 5 points under the total. And Taven Jackson on the 2-yard line with about 20 seconds left, instead of just taking a knee, going to the locker room, shaking some hands, and celebrating, Taven Jackson rolls left and scores a touchdown that cost me my bet. I can't root for a guy like that, so I'm taking the Cards.
Okay, got him. Donnie? Indiana.
I'm going to take Indiana.
Indiana. We're all for you. You taking Indiana?
I'm going to take the Hoosiers.
All right.
What a mistake.
Marcus?
They're horrible.
I'm taking the Hoosiers on the simple fact that I just don't think Louisville's that good.
I mean, I don't think so either, but it's Indiana. They're a basketball school that doesn't even play basketball well.
This is
Yeah, they've had a pretty good year in basketball last year. Not a great year, but they had a pretty good year. They're playing in Indianapolis. Louisville beat Georgia Tech. Indiana beat Ball State.
Teachers College.
They played Ohio State fairly good. I think they only lost by, 17, 16. I'll take Indiana. I'll take Indiana in this.
Sounds good.
All right.
Sounds good. We're ready to get out of here.
Are we out of time? We got more time?
We got about a minute.
Okay. All right.
Just pulling out of your head. What you got?
Vanderbilt.
Oh, goodness gracious.
Vanderbilt.
Who are they playing?
UNLV.
I'll take UNLV.
Vandy's a 4-point favorite, and that game's out in Vegas. 7 o'clock, CBS Sports Network.
Does Vanderbilt ever want to play at home? They just sign up to play these random locations.
And if Trail was here, Trail would say, Vanderbilt's out in Vegas. They won't win this one. They'd spend all the night before in the strip joints out there. There's no way they
Vanderbilt
could win this
refuses to play in Commodore Stadium. They just call random athletic directors and say, hey, can we come to your place and play?
Have you been to Commodore
I mean, I
Stadium?
understand that.
They still call it Dudley Field.
Too.
But does UNLV even have a football stadium? They're playing at a height. They're probably playing at Bishop Gorman.
Yeah.
Don't they letting them use the NFL
I don't know.
All
I'm
right,
taking the Raiders.
Go quick. Go quick.
I'm taking Vandy.
Vandy.
UNLV. I'm never picking Vandy.
Who you got, Donnie?
I'm gonna take Vegas.
Vandy. I take Vandy.
Okay.
Blow the whistle.
Blow that thing.
Yeah. Hey, that'll do it for today's edition of the Goatee Sports Page. Thanks to Aaron Ishmael back at Loud Media, our host of the Blue Tick Tavern, and all our sponsors. For Donnie Moore, Marcus Fitzsimmons, Troy Provo Heron, until next Saturday, this is Mike Edwards, the Greenfield Gunner, wishing everyone good sports.
And that's the final whistle. Join us again next Saturday for the Goatee Sports Page. The best in local sports since 1978.